Hey there, have you been worried about the impact of smoking and the coronavirus and just wondering what the risks were? And have you also been wondering, even though you know there probably are some health risks associated with smoking and the coronavirus, why are you smoking more than you usually are? Because I'm getting a lot of people contacting me and saying, why, I know this is like bad. I should stop smoking right now. Why am I smoking more? So in this video, I want to cover with you guys, the risks of continuing to smoke and COVID-19 or coronavirus. And then I also want to get into how quickly, when you stop smoking, how quickly your lungs can recover. Because I think a lot of people think, well, it doesn't even matter because I smoke. It doesn't matter, the damage is done, which is not true. And then the other thing is I want to look at why, you're a smart individual, right? Why might you be smoking more, want to smoke more? Because, the fear right now, everybody's so afraid of what's going on. We don't know anything about anything. And it feels like the end of the world, right? We're all, help me. And you know what? It makes you want to smoke more, right? So why is that going on? Well, we're going to look at that. And then I'm also going to get into some tips, but I'm also going to offer you a seat in my free masterclass, How to Quit Smoking Without Withdrawal, Cravings, or Weight Gain at the end. Or, you can go and sign up now. And in that masterclass, we're going to really learn how that you can stop smoking or vaping. So it's really how to stop smoking or vaping. If you're vaping, the risks are the same, if it may be a little different, but definitely the same. So how to stop smoking or vaping without cravings, withdrawal, or weight gain. And the masterclass gets into how to really get your mind in the right place so that you don't experience withdrawal or cravings, that we can remove the mental roadblocks. If you watch this video, you're going to get what I'm getting at, like the power of our mind in all of this is substantial. Now, who am I? My name is Rita Black, and I am a clinical hypnotherapist and smoking cessation expert specialist. I've been doing what I do for over 20 years. I've helped over 10,000 people become happy, healthy non-smokers, non-vapors. I am a former pack and a half a day smoker. I've been a non-smoker for over 25 years now, but I certainly remember really trying super hard to quit smoking, wanting desperately to stop, but not being able to. And I really felt like it was my fault, that there was something wrong with me, that I lacked willpower, that I lacked focus, that I didn't have it in me because my friends seemed to be able to stop. But really what it was I wasn't using my mind effectively. And when you can do that, I assure you, I work with people who are 3-pack-a-day smokers who have smoked for 50 years. You can stop smoking when your mind is in the right place. You can stop vaping when your mind is in the right place. Don't think you can't. You're better than that, and I know you can. And we really want you to stack your odds in the face of this crisis. I feel like this is my personal, I love helping people become non-smokers. It's the most powerful thing you can do. And now more than ever, now that we have this pandemic that we don't know what the future brings, I want you to be powerful. I want you to know that you can lick this. You can become a non-smoker and get your lungs healthy, and we can all be healthy together, okay? So that is my commitment to you in this video. So first of all, now I'm going to tell you the health impact. I'm going to go through this. Now you may know some of this stuff. You may know more than me because I'm making this video pretty early on in the United States beginning to be freaked out about it. So, maybe you're watching this 3 months from now and they've got way more information and they have more. So I'm going to go through this very quickly because I think the stuff that I'm going to get into later is going to, so if the current stuff I'm saying is a little passe, that you can just fast forward through that to get to the meat of the matter, which is why you're still smoking even though you know all this stuff is bad for you, and then how to start to stop. Okay, so the information, just so you know that we're official here, is from the Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education. You can look them up on Google. They have a nice little definite research papers and click-throughs and all that stuff. So if you want more information, you go there. I'm just taking this information as it comes to me, and hopefully I'll be updating this information as we go along. So first of all, the health impact is what they have known so far is, this is just from observing the data, the analysis of what's gone on in China so far to date. And so far to date, what they have seen is that in the people that have gotten the advanced lung disease and infection, and sometimes died, if you are a smoker or a vapor, you are 14 times more likely to get that. That they just noticed that in the people that were infected in China, smokers were 14 times more likely to be impacted than non-smokers. Okay, so we know that this smoking really does impact and make us more vulnerable for coronavirus. Okay, now, and again, this is early days, so you might have better information than me at this point, but we just, we can, did we know this probably already in our minds? Yes, of course. So I'm sure I'm not telling you anything too new, but just FYI. Now, there is there's a metabolite of nicotine called cotinine, and it is responsible for making us more vulnerable for acute respiratory distress syndrome. And that is when your lungs, that is what your lungs get when they get into that infectious disease stage. Like your lungs start to go into distress. And there's a property in nicotine that is called cotinine. And this is in both vapor and in the vapor that it's in vaping and in tobacco, I believe. And this is something I think you really should know, is it's also people who get secondhand smoke also have this in them. So they are also at increased risk for acute respiratory distress syndrome. Okay? So now we're going to get into, the after effects of this, but just FYI. So that's one of the reasons why the Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education says stop smoking, because you're a lot more likely to be susceptible for ARDS, which I believe is just a part of the COVID-19, like the stage where your lungs start to get into that place where you need to be put on a ventilator. Okay. So I'm not being super scientific, you guys, because I'm not the doctor who has all the research papers. I'm the clinical hypnotherapist who works with your mind, but I'm just giving you a quick overview. So here's the other thing that I thought was really super fascinating, and this is something you've probably heard before, at least with the ciliary and neutrophil dysfunction. Okay, forgive me for my bad pronunciations, but I'm doing my best here. So cilia, which are the little sort of like eyelash hairs that line your lungs and your breathing apparatus, right? Now, what their function is primarily is to mobilize the toxins and the mucus and keep things going, to get the toxins out of your lungs and the mucus out of your lungs. So when we smoke, when we vape, the cilia become coated and lie flat. So they aren't able to be used at all, right? So they're what's happening then in most smokers is that their mucus and toxins remain in their lungs. And this makes you a lot more susceptible to infection and pneumonia. Okay, so just that's what it is. Sorry. The other thing is neutrophil, which are kind of like, if you want to think of blood, the white blood cells that are the first responders when there's infection in the body, neutrophil are those white blood cells. They're the special, super, with the little fireman hat on and the little, EMT, guy come into the rescue, when, infection in the body, let's go. And they don't work when you smoke. They're just like sitting there smoking a cigarette with you, and they're like, infection over there. Let's light up another one, and maybe Bob will go, but I just want to smoke, right? So they're not even interested when you smoke. All right, so now, having said all that, again, I'm sure none of that makes you want to stop smoking. It makes you want to smoke more. But anyway, there you go. So now that's the health impact. But the good news is, see what happens. And I know when I was a smoker, I was like, well, I smoke a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. How the heck are my lungs? And, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. I can't really help it. It's not going to get better. It's kind of just, a risk I have to take because I smoke. No. When you stop smoking, immediately, your heart rate normalizes. The carbon monoxide exits your blood within 12 hours, and your blood starts to get cleaner. Like the neutrophil starts to kind of wake up, puts a cigarette out. He starts to dust himself off, and he starts to put his little protective outfit on and go, okay, well, maybe I'm interested in going and, helping this fight an infection. So your blood starts to get pumped up and better equipped to fight infection. The cilia, within like a week, the cilia start standing up straight and start mobilizing things, getting the toxins out of your lungs, helping mobilize the mucus, helping you cough, because coughing actually is good for you, right? Because it's getting all the gunk out, it's getting all the infection out, it's getting all the stuff out, right? So let's cough, let's get that cilia going, right? And then also your insulin response, because remember, they're saying that pre-diabetics and diabetics are more at risk here. And most people don't know, but there's corn syrup that is in the cigarettes that you smoke, and there is sweetener in the vapor, in the vaping, that raise your insulin and keep your insulin elevated. I get diabetics who come to see me all the time, and they're shocked. They don't know because their doctors don't know. They're not telling them. But there is an insulin response that's created by smoking that when you become a non-smoker, you can see on the CDC, actually, if you go on their website and look at what happens to your lungs or to your body after you quit smoking, one of the things is that you get improved insulin, and people are like, well, why is that? Because tobacco is cured in corn syrup, and it elevates every time you smoke. You're elevating your insulin levels, so your insulin response gets better, and that you cannot imagine how powerful insulin regulates all the hormones in our body. So getting your insulin in the right place, getting your cilia working, getting your heart and your blood going, these are all things that can happen really within a week, that you are going to be improving your health so much more. Isn't that worth making that decision to become a non-smoker? Now, here's one of the main reasons why you are smoking more or vaping more. I'm just making this assumption. Maybe you aren't, but it does happen quite a bit. And I am getting a lot of calls from people saying, why am I smoking more? I was like, well, because, we're all stressed out and we're all freaked out. So I'm going to come over here and then just look at the mind. And maybe you've seen me do this mind model before if you've seen me in my videos, but I'm just going to run through this. So, here's the mind, and only about 12% of your mind is the conscious mind, and that's the part of the mind that knows, like, smoking is bad for me. We are having a national emergency. There is this pandemic that is called coronavirus, and it impacts people who have vulnerable lungs. I might be one of them. I should quit smoking because my life depends on it, right? That's all really kind of conscious mind stuff. And that is only 12% of your mind. So 12% of your mind is like, why am I smoking? This is stupid. I've got to stop. I've got to stop. Now, the other 88% of your mind is the subconscious part of the mind. And that is the part of the mind that really wants to keep right on smoking, especially now that you're afraid. Because when we go into panic mode and fear mode, the subconscious mind really kind of becomes like a clamshell holding itself together. It's protecting itself, right? So all the things that are contained in the subconscious mind get sort of, protected. And it's not really anything that you're saying up here in the conscious world, like, let's stop smoking. Oh my gosh, it's so expensive. And we're being quarantined. And how many cigarettes do I need for my quarantine? And do I have enough money? The economy is tanking. Like, should I be still spending $10 a day smoking? Like, all of that stuff is conscious mind. Subconscious mind is like, our identity. I am a smoker. I need to keep smoking. And the belief system, like, I believe I need that cigarette with my coffee in the morning. I believe that cigarette when I'm watching the news and I'm being freaked out. And I need that cigarette before I go to bed at night. And I need, and then the habit of smoking, like it is so patterned into our life, especially for a heavy smoker. It is just, we light our cigarette and we do the next thing, and we light our cigarette and we do the next thing. And it's really hard for us to imagine life without cigarettes, right? Because we're coming at it from this idea that this world of smoking. So we literally live in this world of smoking, and we think about not smoking, we panic, we get super afraid. Like, our reptilian brain thinks fight or flight. It thinks like, you are trying to kill me. This is life or death. You do not take my cigarettes away from me, especially now that I'm freaked out, right? So we are already in sort of a panic, fight or flight state. And now this idea of taking cigarettes away panics us even more. And what happens? We want to comfort ourselves. And what do we do when we comfort ourselves? We smoke, right? So all of this soup of smoking and fear just makes us want to smoke more. So first of all, I want you to understand it is not your fault. You are not weak. You are not undisciplined. You are not insane. There is nothing absolutely wrong with you. It is just the way that the brain is constructed that is working against you right now, especially when there is so much fear and panic in the world and uncertainty. So first of all, I want you to understand you are a smart, capable, loving human being, and you can become a non-smoker. You absolutely can. But you need to approach this in a new way, because the ways that you've been approaching it before, like wearing nicotine patches, which really do nothing, or using nicotine, because one, nicotine still makes you vulnerable, but two, it also keeps you in that world of smoking. We need a completely different approach to becoming a non-smoker. And I am going to suggest that you don't even quit smoking, but you become a non-smoker. So I'm going to walk you through a few things that you can start to do to start to poke holes in this old idea and get all of your mind working with you to become a non-smoker. And then I'm also going to suggest you come and join me in that, excuse me if you can hear the little helicopter flying overhead. But if you can join me in my master class, how to quit smoking or vaping without withdrawal, cravings, or weight gain, because I think you're going to learn a lot more. But I want to get you started on this journey. So the first tip I want to give you is, instead of the first step is to change your identity. And what I mean by that is this. When we smoke, we see ourselves as a smoker. That is our identity. So often when we're trying not to smoke, it's like we're taking away this identity, and and it's this big struggle. It's like, I'm a smoker and I'm trying not to smoke, and it's really hard. We don't want to do that. we want to make the decision that we're going to be a non-smoker. And when we come at that, then we start to have our power, because we aren't in that world of smoking anymore. We've chosen to be in this new world of being a non-smoker. And the mind actually shifts when you start to look at it like that. I hope you can feel the difference in that. You probably have been many things. Maybe you're married and, you weren't trying not to be single, right? Or maybe you moved to a new city. And once you move to I have a lot of clients who move from New York to Los Angeles. And, New York, Los Angeles, once they decide to be in Los Angeles, it's not about not in New York anymore. It's about adapting to Los Angeles. So we need to adapt to being a non-smoker, okay? So once we have changed our ID or identity to that of non-smoker, then we're going to move on to the next step, and we're going to just focus on, instead of, often when we have a pattern of smoking, and we want to now change that pattern to, instead of focusing on not smoking, which is usually what most people do, and they see the void, like if you smoke 20 cigarettes a day, then they see that void, and it's like they're taking away, and now they've just got a bunch of voids in front of them in their day that they're trying to fill, or they feel like they're deprived. So we want to change the focus, and we want to focus on a habit, being in the habit of healing. So creating like a new healing, a healing habit of, in creating new ways of taking care of yourself rather than smoking. So when you focus your mind on taking care of yourself and healing, your mind will come up with other ideas, like instead of having your coffee with a cigarette in the morning, you're just having your coffee and putting your feet up and maybe writing in a journal, and it's not replacing, you're creating something new. You're creating a new little morning routine around your coffee, right? And that's a more healing habit than the habit you had before. Or taking 3 nice deep breaths of fresh, clean air when you get in your car instead of lighting up a cigarette, right? So that's a healing habit. So when you're focusing your mind on what you're doing versus what you're not doing, your mind gets very creative. So we're focusing on being creative and healing versus ripping cigarettes out of your life, which just creates this idea of being deprived and negation. But you're a creative person, and you can create a new healing habit in your life, the habits that take care of you. Okay, so the last thing is creating a little mantra. And again, because this really attacks that reptilian part of the brain that gets super freaked out and thinks, I need cigarettes in order to survive. And that's our little mantra. I need cigarettes in order to survive. So we want to change that mantra into, I am enjoying my freedom of being a non-smoker. Or moving in the direction of being a non-smoker. Having a little mantra that you can repeat to yourself, it starts to calm your center down. It starts to help you see yourself from a different perspective. It helps you see your life from a different perspective, because you're creating a healing lifestyle, but then you're also creating this little mantra that calms you down and starts to calm down that reptilian center so that we don't get into that fight or flight response. Now, here's the thing. I'd love to teach you a lot more. As you can see, I have a lot to say about this, becoming a non-smoker. And I'd love for you to join me in my free masterclass. So go ahead and sign up. I think the link is down here, but if it's not, it's over here. It's somewhere around here. Just click on, you enter your name, your email address. Super easy. Sign up for one of the times. There's plenty of times. And if I'll be hosting a lot of these. So if it doesn't work for you today, come back and, put your name there anyway, and then I'll send you some other times. And that's it. It's really simple. So here's the thing that I want to close with. I know you can become a non-smoker. I know you want to become a non-smoker, and you want to use this opportunity, instead of looking at it as like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that has ever happened. Maybe this is the door that is going to open for you. Maybe it takes a crisis in order to create a cure. Maybe that cure is for you finally taking back your power, your freedom, and your health from something that has taken your power away from you for so long. Don't continue to let smoking make you feel like you're its slave. Don't continue to let the tobacco industry take your hard-earned money away from you, especially in this economic downturn. You're better than that. And you, I believe, I know I've helped thousands of people become non-smokers, super heavy 3-pack-a-day smokers, people who never ever believed that they could stop, and they stopped. And what changed for them wasn't just their health and wasn't just their pocketbook, but it was a confidence that came out of doing something they thought they could never do, a belief in themselves. Like, wow, I can do that. I can do anything. And I know you can do this. And when you do this, we can all work together to help get this world right again after all of this. But it needs to start with you believing in yourself. I believe in you, and I know you can do this. All right. So join me in my free masterclass, How to Stop Smoking without or vaping without withdrawal, cravings, or weight gain. I will look forward to seeing you in class, and have a great, safe, and healthy day. And I hope all of your family and friends are safe and healthy too.